Hi everyone, it's Joe here, feeling a bit emotional because I'm having a conversation, a conscious mind conversation with someone who is incredibly beautiful and intelligent and smart, and I just feel so honored that she is one of my friends and she has a lot to share. And what's happening to her province at the moment is important for us to hear her narrative and her experiences so we can see and feel into what's happening. And we'll do some channeling down the track of this conversation. This is obviously not scripted, and we're just going to listen to her now. So, welcome, my friend.
Joe, and hi to everybody listening. I hope our chat is able to assist anybody that needs it at the moment, including me.
The voice, the volume is a bit equity, but tell everyone where you're at location wise, and then your journey has been so incredible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joe, can you hear me now? Is that better?
I can. You sound fantastic.
Okay. Sorry. All right. So currently we are in Durban in South Africa, and we have been basically locked down on a level 4 for about 3 weeks with the restaurants closed and businesses obviously just coming to a halt. And in the last 2 or 3 days, we've been bombarded with the narrative of the Zulus coming to war. And the businesses, about 90% of the businesses within our KwaZulu-Natal province has been, well, the shops, the malls have been burnt and they've been looted and everything's been stolen. And the people in the province are left with no food. The farms have been looted, the chickens are gone, the eggs are gone. And currently, the people are not even able to feed their babies, find formula for their babies. So it's very stressful. The energies at the moment are very dense. And I'm not too sure how I can be of service at the moment, Joe.
Yeah, well, you are because you are an incredible light worker. So your energies are helping, you're keeping neutral, you're keeping balanced. But as we know, when we have these bigger perspectives, our hearts and our emotions still are part of our human experience.
Yeah, this is right. And at the moment, I am managing social media groups. This is my current source of income. But the past few years, well, the past year with the COVID, it's been quite rife with fear. And I felt as though, thanks to the sessions with you and all the people, that you've had sessions with, I've been able to control a lot of that fear within, probably an accumulated amount of 70,000 people, because I've been able to assist with keeping back certain information that I would have felt would have been there to cause a whole bunch of fear. And at this moment, the people on the streets, as we speak, it's 2 a.m. in the morning, and the people are on the streets, they're protecting their homes. They armed, they've got their hockey sticks, even, they're protecting their homes because they're not too sure if the Zulus are coming with the petrol bombs to the homes. So yeah, it's interesting times, Joe, but with a bigger perspective. And I've been preparing for this kind of unrest. So this is it.
Yeah, and so it is. I mean, my heart goes out to you. Obviously, I've had a little cry, like because it's just so unnecessary to get to this point and to have this division and this what it looks like a civil war, but it feels orchestrated. That's what you were sensing from. I mean, you are incredibly intuitive. You are of assistance and of service to many. You have navigated yourself through your awakening because you're an incredible person. And I just want to say I can feel the collectives coming in, and they're just like, that's our girl. She's like, yeah, you're definitely making so many people, so many beings who are trying to help those that you can do really proud. And I know that you don't do this for attention or ego. You do it because you generally have the biggest heart and you love your country. You love your fellow man and woman and children. And I mean, you're a mom, you've got little kids, you're real. You are not only listening to these sessions and absorbing the information about what we are or preparing for, but also you are in an extraordinary location right now. It is so challenging when we want to keep just telling people, hey, it's going to be okay, everything's fine. But the reality does not quite look like that. And what do you, I mean, apart from you setting the example of being calm, trying to help people hear people's emotions and try to give them reassurances, I mean, how are you going with that? What are your strategies there?
Well, Joe, up until now, my calmness has come across as being insensitive. So I'm at a line where I'm not too sure how to still, show that I am still a loving being and sending love, even though I might seem a little less affected than other people. My hopes were that that would come across as calmness. And obviously I do have a little bit of, do they actually believe that I care at the moment? For example, my husband's uncle is currently on a ventilator, and he's been in ICU for 3 weeks now, and the prognosis is not good. So the family is very, very stressed about that at the moment as well. And again, I'm trying to remain calm and I'm trying to keep them positive. But at this point, Joe, I'm actually not too sure if I'm coming across more insensitive than anything else. So maybe that's a little bit of something we can delve into the actual with the channeling. But I'm not too sure what else I can be doing.
Well, you're not panicking, you're not going into fear, you're logically moving forward. And yes, you're right. People feel like in these times you must be, an emotional wreck and crying all the time and panicking because that is what people would believe is the most appropriate way to navigate through your extraordinary experiences and times. So, first of all, you can shrug off judgment of you. You know that you are a very grounded, solid being who has compassion beyond the average normal person. And I'm not trying to say that to boost your ego. I am literally saying that because I've tapped into you already before in other sessions, and I know your heart, and I know your purpose and duty for your community, for your country, for your family, and your friends. And you're just doing this family drama dynamics as a side hustle because you are that bigger light worker just holding the energy, holding the frequency. And when you are in balance and neutral, you are more of a vessel of open opportunities for those vibrations and the energy to be transmuted through you. You have listened to these sessions for so long now, and you have been upgraded, you have profoundly done all of your inner work so long. Do you remember the shift in your consciousness from you being the mum with doubts to you now being a profound leader in your community?
Oh, goodness, 100%. Oh, 100%. And it's been such a massive shift in about a 2 year period. And I'm just so grateful that I've had this because if we can just delve into that a little bit, just a few years ago when I was diagnosed with polycystic ovaries and depression and all the stuff, and the endocrinologist had given me a whole bunch of tablets, told me I did not ovulate, I wouldn't be able to fall pregnant, and I started obviously stressing out at that time, and he said I needed a whole bunch of medication to be able to fall pregnant. So I had done my own thing. I tried to balance my hormones. I tried to eat healthier. I tried to get rid of plastics, all that stuff. And within 3 months, I'd fallen pregnant. And from that moment, I started realizing that maybe the world was not as conducive for our health as what I thought. So I had to start researching things like vaccinations for my children, or, actually, which way do you birth? Or how do you feed them? Which car seat do you use? All that stuff that ended up being quite stressful. But then there came the imploding idea of Wi-Fi's, Bluetooths, all these things that were going to cause massive issues to my children, to me. And at this point, my programming was that my mom died at 39. She died of cancer at 39, and I had just entered my 30s, 2 years ago. And it was something along the lines, was this my final, decade to be alive? And it had to be a change, a mindset change from, well, which timeline are you going to choose? Is this where you're going to stay and you're going to stress about absolutely everything? Or are you going to find something that is going to allow you to find some peace and be able to actually live. So I came across Dr. Bruce Lipton, which gave me the science side of the chakras and of all the energetic things that I could not see, the things that I battled to understand. And with me, it's understanding is key. Otherwise, I just write it off. And with Dr. Bruce Lipton and a few other scientific side of things, it got me understanding a little bit more of energetic protection. And what we really have now is just to raise our frequency. And from there, I came across Abraham Hicks, and that was around the beginning of COVID. Abraham Hicks went quiet, Esther Hicks went quiet, and I stumbled somehow onto these beautiful sessions on Conversations with Heaven on your YouTube channel, and my life since has just changed 100%. So I have done a massive amount of changing, and I'm very, very proud of myself, to the point where I don't have to stress about the Wi-Fi causing my kids, brain cancer, which is genuinely my thought process every day when I look at the Wi-Fi router. So, or was. So I'm definitely in a place now where I understand we're on our journeys, we're here on our, missions, and I'm not here to intervene with other people. I'm here to help. I'm here to be that light, and that's my mission. So I'm quite at peace and happy, and I expect to live a nice, long, happy life wherever I am.
Have you got your bags packed ready to go to New Earth?
That's right.
It sounds like you've had an extraordinary journey. I know that you researched so much of the medical industry thought processes because you took it so seriously, and I think your intuition was just kicking in for you to know that there was just something not adding up.
Absolutely. And it was a trying time because I was on my own with that then too. So, when you're the only one not vaccinating your children, or you're the only one, doing these things, and people are looking at you and thinking, you're bad for humanity. And you really you dig in so deep because you feel it within yourself that this is what's real. I couldn't understand. Everything is reversed. The music, the top 10 songs, the worst lyrics, everything was reversed, and I couldn't understand why it was like this. And when COVID happened and I started falling into the rabbit holes, very deep rabbit holes, and found everything I needed to find, which I'm grateful for. I was able to dig myself out of them. I was able to, tie it all together. I was able to then come to my conclusion, and I guess live peacefully since. We'll try.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. I fully admire you because even though you've explored and experienced so much, as you were saying, you dug yourself out of those rabbit holes. Because I think you did, because you came to that acceptance of the bigger perspective at some point to it. And I know I feel so sorry for those people that are just stuck deep in that fear and worry of knowing these rabbit holes. I think I can understand why people just shrug it off and say, nah, this is all nonsense, forget about it kind of approach, because it's just too intensive. And I think you've always had that neutral of, okay, so this is information. It's extraordinary. Like I think the lucky people that find you and hear from you after the shift, they're gonna just be really profoundly updated and really beautiful. I feel like that's what you've been doing. I feel like that's what you've been researching for, because we can't awaken them now when they're still so stuck in fear for whatever reason. So when they do shift and they sort of question these people who will be greeting them, they will be given this information which is more palatable in that different frequency.
Mm. Yeah, and Joy, it's been easier to accept it now with your, like if I didn't have, perhaps if I was listening to all the stuff coming out in the mainstream and I didn't have your, the perspective from your sessions, I wouldn't have seen in the fact that it's already done. This is already done. And if you can accept it as that, then there's no point wallowing on it anymore. And I've got very close friends and very spiritual friends who are still very much spreading fear and spreading the narrative or the 3D, or what's going to happen. And it's still like your sessions, there's been enough of your sessions for people to now know that this is not your service anymore. And I really do hope that we can all actually just at this point just be the lighthouses that we need to be, and instead of meddling in any of that fear, because we can't be taking from the collective anymore. It's just, we've got to give now.
Absolutely. Be of service. Yeah, I really,
Yeah.
it is, I mean, it is still is disappointing to see so many light workers still peddling in the fear narrative. And I think it's really ego based at this point for them to try to keep harping on about it. When the reality is, okay, yeah, so yes, we understand, that you're afraid of X, Y, and Z, but instead of just saying the fear factors, what are you doing about it? If you're an influencer and you're owning this information and sharing this out to your audience and your followers, this scary stuff, are you just leaving it with them and be like, bye, see you next week, my friend? Like, what the heck? Is it your responsibility for, like, anyone that says that they're spiritual to have that bigger perspective? And I mean, I don't follow anyone. I'm too busy doing sessions and, trying to balance my 3D life and my work life. Blows my mind the stuff I'm hearing. You know what I heard today that really triggered me? I'm totally off topic. Is a is another QHHD practitioner really dismissing her clients' feelings and thoughts and questions. I was,
Oh, wow.
excuse me, please, what? Like, if anyone has done a session, when you go in and you share, you should be able to feel like this person's holding space for you, and you could say anything, any wackadoodle, crazy, crazy, whatever, and the practitioner should not give their personal opinion. They should listen, respect, and honor you. That is literally our role. And I was hearing today this horrific, I mean, honestly, I could feel Dolores coming in. I felt like I was starting to get frustrated and sweaty. Like, should I just be emailing this practitioner? Like,
Mm.
what should I? And it's just heartbreaking to think that someone who earns and charges a lot of money to criticize and judge someone who's coming in to connect to their team. And it just blows my mind that there's all of these people that should be better. I know that's judgment, I guess it's learning and all that sort of stuff, but I'll shake it off.
I remember the last year, Joe, when I had a session with my first practitioner last year, and I spoke to you about it. And you said to me, and I think you actually asked on a channel session for me, and they said that was the right practitioner for the right person at the right time. And I was frustrated at the time, but I really needed it. So I'm just shooting that right back at you. That practitioner is obviously, although really not, fulfilling their duty correctly. It's obviously what that person needed at that time to hear. I don't know why though, but hey.
You were the gift to the practitioner. You were holding that practitioner accountable because she realized she hadn't actually done her own inner work. She had assumed a whole lot of things about the new earth and all that stuff. And so she was trying to be dismissive to
Yeah.
you and tell you, we don't need to ask that in the question because I will tell you the new earth is here. It's just a mindset. And so I've heard
Yes.
so many practitioners saying, we're not going to ask about that because it's just, people get confused. It's already here. Look at this beautiful new earth, everybody. So, I mean, I have to say I have been triggered by that because this work should and does deserve integrity and honor. And so, I am apologizing for all those people that I have felt so frustrated that they've misused this work because you're honoring Dolores, you're honoring the collectives, you're honoring yourself, and you're honoring humanity when you actually do this properly. And we know so many industries that are corrupt. We know so many industries that are not of service truly because they have their own other agenda. And I just think, God, nothing's sacred in the world anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry, Joe. It must be such a tough one with the practitioners because there are obviously a few coming out now or have come out now. So, oh my word. Well, you just got to find that practitioner that you vibe with, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, they're telling me now, they're reminding me that there are practitioners for all collectives. So, even, the people that still shudder when they hear reptilian,
Yes.
there are reptilian practitioners because you know what? They are still of service for their communities and their collectives. We can be cool with that. We're mature.
Yes.
So same with every. So when you're listening to other practitioners and you're wondering why there's different information, well, question who's the collective talking? What quality of inner work has that client done? What quality inner work has that practitioner done? Like it's just
Mm.
think questioning and not assuming everything's at top professional level. I mean, I've shown that I'm still very 3D, and I'm a work in progress, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
diligently trying to do the best I can, and that's all anyone can really expect of me, and all I can really expect of myself. I know my responsibilities. I know my strengths and weaknesses, and I'm trying really hard to be acceptant of all while I'm trying to accept others as well.
I like that, Joe. It's just made you out to be really like real because I think a lot of people might assume that you've got all your shit together. Sorry. It's like you're not living such a 3D life and you're not still trying to figure out your stuff and you're still trying to, you are still doing the best that you can. And it's really nice for us as well on our end to see that. You've gone through a lot of sessions and you've got a lot of information, but you still a work in progress. So it's nice for us to also realize that we getting there, we're doing it too, because I think it is a little bit, it is a bit trying when you question yourself, like, am I doing enough inner work, um but yeah.
I know people can get obsessed with it, and so then it stifles them. And the reality
Yes.
is, we need to just, keep it neutral and just allow the inner work to present itself to us.
Yes.
Because it comes up in many ways, and yeah. Oh, look, it's 1 2 2 1 here.
Nice. I've been seeing nice numbers. Actually, I've been seeing a lot of like proper mirrors. So it's been like 0220 or it's like proper mirror numbers. It's been very cool.
Feel like it's almost sort of balanced. When you see those mirrors, it's like it's a balance. It's a balance
Yes.
of all, and they're trying to remind us to be balanced and a neutral. And so yeah, so getting
I
back,
like that.
everything's
Yeah.
an, everything's an experience and an important lesson to grow from. We know there's no good or bad, and I'm thinking about, my heart goes out to all the people that are in your province, because there's like one. So the official document number is statistics, and so who knows really the reality of it, but uh, is it 11.1 million?
Yeah. That's quite a big province. It's quite a big farming province, this too, and it's the Nkandla province, and Nkandla is the area in which the old President Jacob Zuma and his family and whatever live. So the current narrative is that this began in KZN because it's where he was arrested and he went to jail. So that's the mainstream narrative of what's going down, and that is why KZN has been affected mainly. So currently, it's not the whole country. So we are hoping at some point trucks or food deliveries and stuff would be able to get through. But right now, all the roads are basically blocked.
Okay. And so how long has this unrest been occurring?
They started protesting probably last week Friday, but it wasn't such a destructive one. And then on the weekend, there were rumors that had gone around that this was going to be a stay at home, or you will be hurt. And then on Monday, it started from Monday. So the businesses have been shut down from Monday. Everything.
And so today's your.
It's our 2:30 a.m. on a Wednesday.
Okay, cool. Well, I mean, it's not cool, but you know what I mean. Like, I understand.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
this is extreme. I feel like it's getting worldwide attention through social media. I'm not too sure about the news because I don't follow it, but I'm imagining this is a great tool for other people around the world to see and know what true big protests and unrests looks like. And I'm I want to say when I saw the videos, I was thinking to some extent this is what old Earth potentially is going to look like in some areas.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought. And because I've been feeling like obviously the energies of end times coming, well, the version of end times, it's like, is this for me is how it begins. And it's a big awakening to the rest of the people and me, as when if everything gets back to normal again and everything starts trading, what are the plans if the systems fail? What are the plans if this is actually going to be a permanent system failure? People can now actually think and start acting and start saving, and just getting some resources, because we cannot be dependent on the government anymore.
So what is the state of your current government?
So currently, sorry, what do you actually mean by that question? Just so I can answer that one properly.
So your current prime minister or president was arrested, and then now who's leading what?
Okay, so Jacob Zuma was arrested, but he wasn't a president. He's not the president. He was a president a few years ago. Sorry, I also don't follow the politics too much because I've never really cared. But we've now got a president for a few years, Cyril Ramaphosa, who has actually dated back. I mean, everybody kind of knows him from even Nelson Mandela days. So he's been around for a long time, probably very, very deep within the cabal. And what the mainstream narrative is saying is because the current president and the ex-president, they are now basically warring at each other. Whereas in my viewpoint, it's actually more of a narrative to try and blame the ex-president and his group of people. And that's, so at this point, I actually wonder if this is something being done by our government to try and actually destroy the economy for the last time, for their next steps. So at the point now, the government, the president, he said that he's called in the army. He hasn't declared any state of emergency or anything. It's just, civil unrest. He's called in the army, although we haven't seen any army. We haven't seen any military at all. But the flags that were raised for me, Joe, was last year when we were locked down. They locked down our beaches, and they had the army protecting the beaches from the surfers. One sole surfer would be arrested, and this is not a joke. And today, we're not able to see any army deployed. So it is very, very, awakening for the people, because they can ask the questions. For me, I've got intuitively, I feel what I feel. I'd like to confirm a few things in the channeling session, but yeah, that's the state of the narrative.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, we've all kind of seem to have short memories, right? Like we've been programmed to sort of have very small memories. So the police, the army presence in the surf at the beaches was very fresh still in people's minds. So now they're having this big, serious problem, and this is a nice awakening, as one would say. Um, okay, in terms of you, my friend, are you stocked full of food, and have you got are you okay? Because I just need to make sure that I'm asking you these questions.
We're all good. We set, but the biggest thing for us is that we don't normally do the foods that other people do. We don't do box cereals. We don't do tinned foods. We don't do that kind of stuff. And it's actually for the first time I actually thought, it would have been wise to have kept a few cans, for a rainy day. But otherwise, we're okay for a good few, probably for a week or so, we'll be okay. But otherwise, I'm not that stressed, because in the sense it's not the whole country, and if it becomes the whole country, then I'd be stressed. But in my eyes, we'd be able to get distribution going, hopefully soon, if the army is doing what they said they're going to be doing.
In terms of,
so, yeah.
In terms of, if I mean, because your province is bigger than in numbers is bigger than my whole country. I'm curious, like if you decided to pick up the kids and travel somewhere, like how far would you have to travel in hours to find some safety?
Oh, you'd probably have to drive a good 2, 3 hours to get out of this area, out of KZN. You know, I've always said, I've always felt like the Midlands were actually the safest place, but there's also a lot of farms. And I'm not too sure because in the past, obviously, there's been a big land grabs and this thing from apartheid times, where again, it's all a racial thing, obviously. It always had to be. That's the white people had taken the land from the black people. So now the new thing was is that the black people had to come and take the land from the white people. So currently there's already that racial thing going that they've been trying to get the farms from people. They've been murdering people. So right now, Joe, I'm actually not too sure. I'm just going to trust that I'm in the right place at the right time. And I understand probably why I'm still in this area because I did ask in a session with you a few months ago, you know, like I've been wanting to move, you know, I didn't want to be here. And you are placed where you're meant to be. And I can understand. I can understand it now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Incredible, extraordinary, you know. Okay, cool. Well, you know, me personally, I just want to send you so much love and encouragement, inspiration, because I know you are such a pillar for your community, and I hope that, I hope that the information that you are seeking, you know, you can just keep asking them for clarification. So
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate all the love. I do.
okay. Well, I'll just tap into them now. I already think they're here, and they are. It's your mum, actually. Okay. She's just sending love. She's reminding you that she had to pass and you had to experience that loss for you to empower yourself to know about the afterlife and to be able to expand. And you knew you did not want to go down the path that she did, and so you researched and you discovered inconsistencies of what she was told in her medical journey, and so you knew straight away that there was something not right. She is not trying to interfere with this session. She says that she just wanted to send love, and she's there with you. And she says you're so protected. So um, she is she is stepping back now because her love to you is really pure and it's quite overwhelming. So okay,
Thank you for that.
it was just a love hug. She said she just wanted to give a love hug. Okay,
Well, my body's vibrating in massive speed. So thank you very much.
yeah, it's just that you are okay. Sorry, I'm just going to shake off that. I'm going to pass that love hug back to you. Oh, okay. So yes, the collectives are here and they're saying we are of service. We are very concerned of uh, the extra intensity. The planet's already going through such extraordinary times, and for what you're experiencing for your province is also very and heightened. This is to show your rest of your country the awakening of the truth, and there is they keep stumbling over they keep stumbling over their own actions. They're so firm on the narratives of their agenda that when something else is pushed, they fall flat. And so this is to awaken many who are still being buying into the narrative. Your land is so pure. The land that you're on is so pure. It's very, very, very high vibrational naturally. But because people aren't doing their own inner work, when you are in a high vibrational place, you either grow or you hold on to that density, and then that density grows into not an enlightened state. And so you get to choose when you live there. Do you empower yourself, or do you stubbornly grow yourself into a more of a denser being? And so these are choices. These are tough times for the people in these countries because this is them overcoming and working out and through their past karma and trauma. They're supposed to not get stuck. They're supposed to learn each way. But It's challenging. You know how the tricks and traps of 3D can be so alluring, and the cognitive dissonance, which is not the language of the vehicle, so she is slowing down to make sure she's not mispronouncing it. But this is your language, and so we know that we're speaking to you. And so we are here, we are here, we're here, and we do want to help you. You have already navigated this, but we want you to know that you are not being uncompassionate when you don't break down and cry. You have done the crying. You have done all of the work that you needed to get to be neutral. So, for those people who have not seen your journey, your heartbreak, your challenges, your hurdles, do not see you in your totality. And we say, we have seen you, and we know you are of great service.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming through to chat with me. I'm very excited. All right. So can I go ahead and just ask a few questions?
Yes, we are here.
Thank you. I'm gonna ask about the civil unrest currently in South Africa. And I'm gonna ask the narrative regarding Jacob Zuma and the Zulus and their intent to harm us. Can you tell me if that's the right narrative?
No. Well, that's what they're doing, but the truth is, it is orchestrated because they're needing to have a distraction. The truth was very close to getting out, and so therefore they needed to arrest the man who wanted the truth to be finally expressed. And so
Okay.
you are having a biggest distraction ever to change the narrative in the direction because the truth was very close to the surface.
All right. I was picking that up because 99.9% of South Africans are hating Jacob Zuma as much as most probably the people hate Donald Trump. And in my heart, I was just not feeling the story, and that is interesting because I didn't know if he was a good man, Jacob Zuma. So is there any way we're able to chat with his higher self?
Mm. We want to say to you, remember each role they play, regardless of whether it looks like a good man or a bad man, they are all to be of assistance to help the awakening. And so those who have blatant manipulation and who are controlled blatantly by other agendas, this is to help those people who are in the know, who are aware, to stand up to the leaders who are dictators of falsehoods. They all should have compassion for their countries. They should all be so compassionate and be able to be proud of who they are and hold truth and integrity higher than corruption and manipulation. And so everything you have assumed and intuitively picking up is correct. This is why it is so blatantly obvious now, from our perspective, how people should be waking up. And when you
Mm.
have starving babies that are innocent in this civil unrest for this drama to take place, to be able to keep themselves saved from their own naughty behavior being disclosed, this will not fly. This will not be accepted for any. This is hitting your citizens where it shouldn't be hitting them. They've already suffered and struggled for so long. And this is the equivalent of, we want to say, your laser, but it is not a physical. The what is going to shock America and the world and Canada and Mexico with the conduction of man-made impacts. This is yours. This is your country's one,
Yes.
where you'll find out that it was man-made, orchestrated. Those people were all playing parts. We say you do not need to. Your house is protected. You are very much protected. And we know you've had some vulnerabilities which have made you feel upset. And we have told you about this and the purposes for this. And we're wanting to say that you are much more evolved than that now. and you do not need those experiences. We are supporting you with your leadership role for your community, and we say, we know you're compassionate, we know you're loving, and we know you're caring. So if people can't see that yet about you, they soon will. So please don't double question yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate the confirmation. Um, I want to chat a little bit about the COVID vaccine. I know it's been brought up, and but specifically in my situation, because I had a bit of a giggle the other day when I don't see my dad too much. I don't visit him too much. And on the one day when I popped in to visit him, he was arriving back from his first vaccination. And I had a giggle and I had a little laugh. I was like, huh, right place, right time, obviously. But can you maybe tell me a little bit behind story of why I had to be there in the moment he had his first vaccination?
He was afraid that he was afraid. He was afraid that something may have happened to him. Remember, his health scare is still in his auric field. He is still afraid
Yes.
of being vulnerable and sick again. So he would do whatever the mainstream would tell him to do. In the belief system, he is protected. You were
Yeah.
energetically there to love him and support him and not ridicule him. And that your energy boosted him and protected him, and you were helping him raise his vibration, so anything that was within that inoculation would not have lowered his vibrations down. He's already in fear, and so you are to be reminded with love to connect with him when you can, because it is his joy.
Oh, that is, thank you for that reminder, because you did say that a few months ago with his heart attack. And yeah, and we got really close and then it kind of faded a little bit. So I need to jump back in there. So thank you for
Yeah,
that.
we want to
Um,
we want to
yeah.
say that it was a big boost for him. He did grow when he was noticing your energy was growing and being more positive, and we had sent him some healing, and he had released some of the past that was still sticking onto him. And so we know it was a big ask for you to be a mother to him, because ultimately you still want him to be the parent. And we understand that, but we also understand that you have parented and loved yourself, and you have grown out of that need for that support. And so he is now really your friend, because he
Yes.
cannot provide for you the emotions that you once needed, because you have matured. You are to use that energy to help and guide others, and you have learned so
Oh,
much from it.
I have. Thank you. That's really, really helpful. Um, yeah, it's really helpful. Thank you so much. Because I've been a little bit concerned about my, relationship with him and if he's still benefiting from me. So in that sense, because he seems get a little bit over me, but that's all good. So thank you.
You were pushing him to
um,
you were pushing him to grow. Your energy was so abundant that it was sort of, he was getting speed wobbles, and so you felt that resistance from him, because you were inspiring him so much, and you were encouraging him so much with your energy and your perspective and your mindsets, that he was sort of taken back. He always could see that the student is teaching the master, shall we say, with his ego.
mm.
um, and so it was, he needed a bit of distance from you to be able to put into place the lessons he learnt. He loves you very much. He is very open to having a good connection with you.
Oh, excellent. Oh, thank you. Um, okay, just another question regarding the COVID. We've been hit in South Africa. We've been hit with the third wave, is it, or the fourth wave? I don't keep up with it, but my family has been affected. Well, my in-law side has been affected quite badly in the Gauteng province, which was the hotspot. Now, again, I wonder, why is there hotspots in certain provinces and not other provinces? But the question is, we've had 3 family members in the last month in ICU on ventilators, and my partner's uncle's currently, he's on his 3rd week on a ventilator, and we've just been told his kidneys and heart are starting to tire out with all these infections. And I just want to find out as well, from the metaphysical point of view, please, can you tell me why I'm being bombarded with all the COVID cases and the COVID possible death? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so they are people who are still struggling to release their emotions and their traumas. They've been given a long time to address that, and so they have manifested illnesses to be able to either be they're using this for attention and support for others. They are being given a shake up to really think about their behaviors. There is a lot of people have um, denied experiencing that illness because they were maybe distracted. So now this is a valid case for their higher selves and subconsciouses to get them to that experience, so then they can have the lessons and the perspective of it. So we're saying for those three people, they all needed a big shake up. This will uh, it is the releasing a lot of they are releasing a lot of emotions through being sick. They're having a lot of thoughts and feelings. This is, as bizarre as this may sound, this is big work, inner work that they are releasing. So they are being grounded down, they are having to surrender to the body, and then in their weakness of exhaustion, they're opening their minds to having connections with their higher selves and subconsciouses more. So they are sleeping more and having these memories more and these connections more. So there's a lot that goes on. Just because you are sick doesn't mean you're not still being bombarded with your inner work. So energetically, they are being upgraded. There's a lot there, but we can see for the uncle, he is still holding on to a lot of suppressed emotion. So he is needing more attention, and he is needing more time to reflect on himself. So there is
Okay.
lots going on, but we want to say that this is not, they are needing everything that they're experiencing because of those opportunities for them to grow.
Okay. Well, am I able to send them love for and healing for quicker release healing? Is that because yeah, we would really like him to, be out of hospital now. My mother-in-law she is besides herself because she's just thinking, my last brother. And my words were to her, and again, I'm concerned about my insensitivity is that you way more helpful to him by being positive for him and sending him positive prayers and loves. And so I'm not too sure if I'm maybe thought of as insensitive in that end, but I'm not too sure how else to help her while she goes through maybe losing her brother.
Well, when people don't have the metaphysical perspective of reincarnation and they think that this is the one lifetime, they are focusing very strongly and deeply. It is very wise words that you said to her, but it was too soon for her. Um,
Mm,
because this is her world, she feels lost. She feels disorientated with how the world's going, and it's so strong with change. And she has relatively had the same life, daily experiences for the last 40 years, easy we could say. So for her to
yes.
have these changes is the most scariest thing. She resists change like her hairstyle. And
Yes.
so she is sort of stuck in a bit of a time warp, and she doesn't like change. So this is making her get out of her routine. This is making her and forcing her to see things differently. And so she's having to snap out of her daydream.
Sure, it's bombarding for her because she's in a very negative place at the moment. So it's sad to see the bombardment, if that's the word, on top of the people who are already in such a bad place. And
And so we
yeah,
want to say
but
when
again,
when she's in her routine, she is actually balanced. You know, she's balanced when she's in her routine, her daily routine, when her weeks look like her weeks, she is fine and balanced. And she actually isn't negative. But
Okay.
like they've had to give her that experience for her to really deeply feel the fear and the density, and she will climb herself out of that. But she needed to, while she's in this density of worry and fear for her brother, she is doing a lot of inner work herself, because she is matching this to a loss that she also had when she was younger, and so she's reflecting a lot on her life and her journey. So she is discovering inner work upon inner work upon inner work upon inner work. And so it is a balance, and it's all connected, and they all need to experiencing all these different aspects to it. So this is beneficial. This is how we're getting people to do their final inner work and to really shift them, for them to deal with some emotions that they have once preferred not to even acknowledge.
Brilliant. I like that. And I intend on learning my lessons without going through any more massive dips. So from previous sessions, it was, you can learn your lessons without actually needing to go have the serious lessons. So is that right? Am I doing okay on my end?
Gold star to you.
Great. Thank you. I'm just trying to think if there was anything more on my end that I wanted to ask. I've only got, curious questions about celebrities and stuff. So is there anything on your end that you want me to know?
That the unrest is very much needed to play out, but you are right, it will not last much longer than that. It would be too unjust, and we would not like this to continue on. It needs to be observed and seen, and all of the lessons and the awakening to occur. So keep tight, keep your strength, keep your faith, and keep your balance, because you are doing extraordinary.
Thank you very, very much. I appreciate that. Am I able to ask a cheeky question quickly?
Mm-hmm.
David Wilcock, can you tell me his intentions for humanity? Has he got good intentions for humanity?
He has good intentions for humanity, as he is a celebrity.
Okay, but as his words truthful towards okay, let me just start. Last year, when I fell down the rabbit hole of the crimes against humanity, I found David Wilcock, and he was going on very fear-based information about, the blackouts and things, but it was in a way that it actually made me feel a little bit more scared. So I started worrying, not worrying, sorry, wondering, were his intentions pure or intentions to get people into fear? So I just wanted to find out from you if you can pick up anything.
He wanted to be the person that disclosed these crimes, but he didn't want you to grow out of listening to him. So he needs to be the entertainment factor. There is truth in what he says, but he's not the stepping stone to be able to see the things from the bigger perspective. He's not helping you gain the perspective of getting out of fear. He may have changed since you watched him then. This vehicle does not know him, and we say we're watching him. He is a stepping stone, so he gets some information, and he is trying to be of service. He is trying to be the entertainer, to deliver this hard information while trying to keep positive. He is he is a stepping stone, but we think if you listen back to his current stuff, it would be more of him than the content you're seeking. So he does get information, but he is not, he is still keeping it to entertainment. So there is a production value factor he is adding into it. He is a team. There is a team. There is many players there. He is. We want you to say he is a popular person to hear information from if you are trying to digest the information in small little stepping stones. and he is a comfort when you look at him. This is definitely not the Beckles words. He is a comfort to look at him because he looks like a fresh faced boy trying to tell you in earnest how to process the things that many people feel there is something not quite right with the world.
Okay, that's interesting, yeah, because he was a good stepping stone for me in the beginning. And I did listen a few weeks back, and again, it didn't really resonate. So actually, not much resonates anymore. I don't really listen too much. So it all is good.
He is trying to keep people in the positive. He is trying to support people. He is trying to be the face of reason and calm. He is trying to be the influencer to help people process this. But even he is he is struggling with why it is all just seeming so dense. He is being watched by all collectives. So remembering that all collectives need information, so he is delivering to all information, all collectives, all information.
Um, Thank you very much. And just sorry, just a final question before we go. Just getting back to South Africa and the cloning and all that stuff that we've learned about. Is there anyone in the politician side of South Africa? Is there anything actually already done this side that doesn't need to be done? In other words, is there any show playing out in the sense that it's a clone, or are we still dealing with all the real people in their real positions?
No, there is no real people in real positions. So this is why they are having to play their roles. Uh, they were dealt with quite some time ago. This is just them playing the roles that they need to awaken others. They were dealt with because of their crimes. So they are having to take on their roles to be able to get people to see. We would think that at this point there would be more integrity and honest with the leaders, but they were not doing their part earlier. They were too corruptible. And so, and almost too unpredictable, because when they did have a conscience and want to say the truth, they would either be assassinated or disempowered with gossip or scandal. So it had to be taken more. We needed to take more control over it. So it may surprise you to know that we are orchestrating all of this to awaken the average people who are watching this. We are not expecting the leaders, the the people, the group among the, is it caucus, the your cabinet, your government,
Mm-hmm.
top parts of your government um, will never stand up to the leaders, because it is orchestrated to awaken, to show how um, ridiculously wrong their agenda is. And as you know, they could get help instantly when they needed to. So everything that they're delaying is to show leaders and governments really don't have their people's interests at heart when they are a corporation, they're not they're not of service to the people.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the awakening, because we can do with a little bit more conscious people. So I will sit tight and do my work, and I appreciate all your help and
This is
all
a big,
that.
this is a big awakening really for the world, what's happening in your province, because when it affects all these millions of people, they are sharing this shock, and they're sharing the videos, and it's reached around the world. And so it is proving to people, um, when people don't understand the narrative that you're hearing, other people in different countries are seeing people who have been locked down just looting, giving up, following and obeying being locked down, and they're just standing up. So while you in your country know what's happening, the other narratives around the world is people are standing up and rising up to being locked down. They're taking what is rightfully theirs, which is comfort, food. They are not just stopping and taking essentials, they are taking everything. And
They are.
this
Sure.
is this is to show the world when you are together as a team, you are strong and you can take anything, including stuff that doesn't belong to you, which is in stores. So this may sound like a strange thing for us to endorse shoplifting, but we're not. We're trying to endorse what's stopping you. You're all locked down at some point. What is stopping you all working together and just saying no? You're forcing us to take what we need. You're forcing us to
Mm.
take control. You're forcing us to be the leaders for our country. And so while you must think this is ridiculous, why would we ever let this happen? The narrative and the videos that are circulating around the world about these events have different aspects and they can be read so differently. And so while you think that everyone in your country knows the gossip and what's going on, it doesn't translate to other countries who don't really know anything much apart from the small bits of information. So what they are seeing is people fed up and just, and it's not, they're not seeing fighting. They're seeing, I'm stocking up, I'm done, I'm taking this, this is mine, I am walking calmly. Everyone is walking calmly and taking what they need. You must know that in America, when it comes to those sales where it's just ridiculously cheap items, it's a Black Friday event. Those videos that circulate are feral. There are people running over each other physically and snatching and being rough and rude. And the video footages that are coming from your country are people in order, just hurrying along, collecting what they need. And so the message that's out in the world is quite different from what you fear, but there are lessons here, my friend, and we want you to be reassured that all is well.
Thank you. I appreciate all those perspectives. I do. I really like the fact that different people are going to be getting different things from that. And that, I mean, it would make a lot of sense if people were going and grabbing the essentials. It's been interesting to see videos of Mercedes Benz people getting out of their Mercedes Benz, going into Woolworths and just looting with the looters and then getting into their Benzes and driving off. So it comes down to absolute greed, and everybody's doing it and we're doing it. So it's all very interesting from all perspectives.
When you do that, when you do have things at home, but you're an opportunist and you park your Mercedes Benz on the side of the road, go into the supermarket, grab a few things, and hop back in to go to your mansion. This is giving them the feeling of actually I can do things that are against the law, and there's no repercussions. Well, again, we don't say woohoo, go for it, loot. We do say keep yourself safe and not go not get into too much trouble. But this is teaching people that you have to break the rules sometimes, and it is going to be okay. And so it must seem very strange and peculiar, but we don't follow your legal laws. We follow the humanity law. We follow the universal laws. And so we do not see this as good or bad if you loot, but it is how you conduct yourself. Are you selling that stolen property to make money, or are you using it for benefit? Are you taking what you need? It's all individual. It's all individual cases, and everything gets looked at individually. And we're saying just because you see other people looting, is it okay for you to loot when you don't necessarily have that need or essential item? You're just taking for the sake of taking and hoarding for the sake of hoarding. Each case and scenario and everyone's actions are all individually, we don't want to say scrutinized, but you're experiencing that, and those are going to be part of your life lessons and the choices you make. You will be reflecting back on them after this lifetime to see how you affected others and how you impacted yourself.
Brilliant. Thank you. I really appreciate your perspectives. I always love chatting with you, but I think that's it from my side. If there's anything else from you.
We just want to keep letting you know that you are very loved and protected. And we want you to keep having the faith that we are watching, we are observing, and we are supporting always. And when things feel a little bit overwhelming or scary, call on us and we are there.
Thank you. I will do. Thank you so much.